I got married days ago. We decided the wedding will be child-free. We thought this was the best option considering several factors from budget to keeping the order, etc. Everyone got an invitation, but my biggest concern was how my brother Ramsey, 36, was going to react. Ramsey married young and has 4 kids that he takes everywhere he and his wife goes. They're always there at every family event. The kids are grade A hyperactive to say the least. I gave Ramsey the invitation in person and he read it out loud in a sarcastic tone and then said, "Child free, huh?" I nodded and he got somewhat mad saying, "Are you serious? But my children have never been excluded from any big or small event, let alone their own uncle's wedding." I said sorry, but it's already been decided and everyone had to follow the rules, not just him. He started off for a minute and then to my surprise he said, "I totally get it, man. No children means no children. No worries." I was glad he didn't start an argument over it and seemed to accept the rule. The day of the wedding came and Ramsey and his wife didn't show up until shortly before the ceremony began. My best man noticed that Ramsey had arrived and had all his kids with him. I was legit mad and I went to meet him at the entrance and saw he brought all his kids against me and my wife's wishes. I greeted the kids and asked my sister-in-law to take them back to the car. He loudly asked what the F was wrong with me. I asked why he brought his kids and who said it was okay. He said no one, but he was planning on bringing the kids all along and figured that by initially agreeing to my rule, then showing up with the kids anyway would get me to agree on letting them stay. I stated this was no event for kids for many reasons and that everyone respected the rule except him. He complained about me disrespecting him and his kids since, again, he never attends any event without them. In his words, "Wherever I go, my kids follow, period." I told him he needed to leave then. Not only did he call me a lunatic, but a terrible brother and terrible uncle. He also called me a simp for agreeing to his wife's stupid rule, saying that if it was him and his wife even hinted he couldn't have his family's kids at their wedding, he would have dropped her right there and then. It was humiliating and loud enough for the guests to notice. My in-laws did too. I told him to leave and that's when my mom and aunt tried to convince me to let it go and let them stay, but I refused and had him leave after a massive argument between us. Everyone gave me grief ever since that incident and are siding with Ramsey, saying I wronged him and acted cold towards him and his kids when they showed up to celebrate me and my wife. My dad is especially pissed at me for potentially permanently effing up my relationship with Ramsey, his wife and kids by kicking them out of my wedding. He quoted Ramsey won't ever forget this day.
Story of the time I realized I was adopted. So my adoption was an open adoption, which means that my parents didn't keep it a secret from me. And I've always known my birth family, well, on my mom's side. But even though I was given this information when I was young, it definitely didn't register with me. The first time I was confused about this, I was in 1st grade. We were making Mother's Day cards, and I remember being really confused because I know my birth mom, but I have my actual mom that I call mom at my house. Hold that thought, guys. I hit 2 million followers on TikTok, and I teamed up with Model 1 so I could do a giveaway for you guys. I'm giving away a polygel kit that has a bunch of goodies in it, and also an entire acrylic system kit. I'll show everything that I'm giving away at the end of the video. Make sure you head over to my Instagram so that you could enter. Anyway, I raised my hand and I asked my teacher, do I give it to my birth mom or my real mom? And she was like, "What are you talking about?" And then I was just embarrassed, so I said, "Never mind." And then another time, my mom was like, "Your sister's birth was so easy." And I was like, "Really? How was mine?" She was like,
Story time about the guy who pretended to be transgender to get into the girls' bathroom. So we're going to go ahead and call him Danny. And at the time, I knew of Danny, but I didn't really know him. We weren't friends or nothing like that. Danny was known as the gay guy. He would always have his makeup done, and he would hang out with some of the girls. Everything was fine and cool until we entered our junior year, and Danny came out as transgender. He started wearing wigs and dressing more feminine-like. Now, when he would get dressed up, he would look completely different than what he looked like as his, born male self. You would think that he was a different person when he would get dressed up. Well, one particular day, he didn't get dressed up and he entered the girls' bathroom. When he did that, all of a sudden, it was a big group of girls running out of the bathroom screaming. If you guys want to know why they ran out, come back for part 2. This is part 2 of the guy that pretended to be transgender to get into the girls' bathroom. So, like I said before, junior year was the year Danny came out as transgender. Some days he'd get dressed up, some days he didn't. When he entered the girls' bathroom, a group of girls ran out of the bathroom screaming. I think maybe a couple hours later, after lunch, Danny was called to the office, and rumors went around about Danny trying to look through the girls' stalls. One girl claimed that he was peeking through the stall to look at one of her friends, and Danny was suspended. I think 2 weeks later, Danny came back to school, and she completely stopped wearing feminine-type outfits. That same week, me and my friend Kenneth were walking past the boys' bathroom, and we heard a lot of fumbling going on. I told him to go check what was going on, When he checked, there was a group of guys in the bathroom jumping Danny. I'm running out of time. Come back for part 3. Part 3 of the guy that pretended to be transgender to get into the girls' bathroom. So, like I said earlier, Danny was in the bathroom and he was getting jumped by a group of guys. After it was over, he walked out last and he walked over to his locker. So I followed him to see if he was okay, and he had a black eye and his lip was busted. I asked him if he wanted me to walk him to the nurse and why did they even jump him. Danny replied, the guy said I'm not allowed into their bathrooms anymore. He said anytime he ever entered there, he'd get bullied or teased for being gay. Then I asked him, I thought you were transgender. He said that because he didn't want to go into the guys' bathrooms anymore. I said, what about the incident about you peeking through the girls' stalls? He said, I never looked through any of the girls' stall. I was just seeing to see who was in the bathroom so I could go in. He said, I'm gay, I don't even like girls, and it wasn't my intentions to make anyone uncomfortable.
This technically happened around 7 years ago, but after newly revealed information, things are tense. Back when I was 17, my younger sister Ellie thought it would be a fun prank to cut my hair in my sleep. I'm a bit of a mover and active dreamer, so when I suddenly jolted, my sister panicked and ended up cutting off a much longer chunk than what she wanted. Out of instinct, my sister let out a scream, so I woke up and saw what she did. My parents woke up to me yelling at her and in turn yelled at her too. My mom took me to the hairdresser and I ended up going from having my hair halfway down my back to a pixie cut. As punishment, my sister had to use some of her savings to pay for my new hairstyle and then gave my sister a choice to either get a buzz cut or no phone and no social life until my hair got longer. Let me be clear when I say until my hair got longer. I don't mean that until it's back to its original length, but rather long enough so that growth was noticeable. My hair usually doesn't take too long to grow, so my sister chose the second punishment as she didn't want to lose her hair. That just made me all the more furious, so out of vengeance, I would give myself little trims at night in the bathroom every once in a while to make it seem like my hair wasn't growing. Eventually, my sister got tired of waiting and missed hanging out with her friends outside of school and asked for some other type of punishment. Our dad reminded her of her option, but it still had been months and my sister felt like it wasn't fair because she didn't intend to cut as much as she did and that she apologized and insisted that while my hair could grow back, she could never get back time that she missed enjoying her teen years. My sister would cry and pout but refused to shave her head to get back her privileges. Over time, I got over wanting revenge and just let my hair grow, and my sister was ecstatic to getting off the punishment. Years went by and we never spoke about it again until we had a conversation with our cousins talking about the worst thing we've done to our siblings. My sister brought up the haircut and I casually mentioned how I got back at her. I didn't think it was a big deal anymore, but my sister got upset.
The police accidentally ate the murder weapon and you won't believe how it happened. This story is called Lamb to the Slaughter by Roald Dahl and the plot twist is insane. A woman named Mary is waiting for her husband, who's a police officer, to come home. She's pregnant and happy with her marriage, but when her husband comes home, she realizes something is wrong. He says that he has something to tell her, and this is where all the drama happens. He says that he's going to leave her and Mary is in shock. She walks to the kitchen and says that she's gonna cook dinner, and there she finds a leg of lamb. Her husband says don't bother because he's gonna go out instead. And Mary, who's enraged, swings the leg of lamb at her husband's head and unalives him. And this is where it gets crazy. So she's thinking, my God, my husband is unalived. I'm pregnant, I cannot go to jail. So she puts the leg of lamb in the oven and cooks it. Then she goes to the grocery store and talks to the grocer about how she was gonna make her husband dinner. Then she comes home and finds her husband's body and pretends like she has no idea what's going on and calls the police. 2 officers show up and they begin asking her questions. They start searching for the murder weapon, convinced that it will lead them to whoever's responsible. But hours later, they found nothing. And this is when Mary comes in and asks them if they're hungry. Then she goes back into the kitchen and takes the leg of lamb out of the oven. And the police officers begin eating the leg of lamb that she just used to unalive her husband. The story ends with one of the officers asking about where the murder weapon is, and the other one saying it's probably right under our noses. So yeah, I realize there's a lot more disturbing and shocking books that I need to tell you guys about. So let me know in the comments if you want me to make more of these.